We have to accept that some relationships aren't working because they're not supposed to. Every relationship that you are in is not supposed to end in marriage. It is not. Some people come into our lives to teach us things. And some people keep coming into our lives because we haven't learned. Some people keep showing up in your relationship, the same type of partner, because God is trying to grow you. You're supposed to learn something and you keep refusing to learn it. You keep digging your heels in. You keep telling yourself this time will be different. When in your heart of hearts, deep in your gut, you already know this is the same BS that was here before. Hi, I'm Dr. Tiff, your relationship transformation coach. I've spent the past 20 years working with high-achieving women just like you who are crushing it in every area of their lives, everywhere except their relationships. And look, I get it. Finding the one ain't easy, and relationships are hard. But you know what's even harder? Cycling through the bad ones, or worse, staying in relationships when you already know they're not a good fit. You want a relationship of ease, uncomplicated, someone to love you down, but instead you've been suffering through bad dates, sexual incompatibility, and someone who might be good for somebody, but not for you. And if we're really being honest, you know that deep down, the work that really needs to be done starts and ends with you. If you're done wasting time in dead-end relationships and sick of looking for, chasing after, or trying to convince somebody to be the one, and you're ready to become the one, then baby, you're in the right place. So prop your feet and let's clink glasses, because I'm giving you the tea and the tips to fix your relationships. Let's go. Hey babes, welcome back to Fix Your Relationships. I am your host, Dr. Tiff, and it's just a beautiful time to be alive in 2025, isn't it? I do believe that, I was telling a client this earlier today, I believe that sometimes, and I think I've told you guys this before, I just believe when certain things are happening in and around us that God just wants us to get closer to Him. And so no matter what you are going through and experiencing right now, my prayer always is that, we get close enough to God that we can hear what He needs us to hear, that we can access the blessings that He has for us. Sometimes we go a little bit further away than we should, and we're experiencing things that are making us uncomfortable, that are making us doubt, that are making us angry and frustrated, when really, if we can be mindful of where we are in proximity to God, we may be able to experience what He has rather than what the world has. So I know I'm opening up, praying and preaching already, but I just want you guys to know that I know that for so many of us, this is a very difficult. Some of us are on the struggle bus in our relationships, but even just in life, in work, and just life, okay? Life is life in right now. So I just want to give you a word of encouragement and tell you that if you need it, if you need direction, if you need guidance, if you need support, right? That we have to, if we need relief, okay, it can't be found. It won't be found in man. It will be found in God, right? All right. So today I want to talk to you guys about something. I want to know, and this might be why I started out the podcast the way that I did. I want to know what you're praying for. I want to know what you're praying for in terms of your relationships. Okay. I want to know what it is that you are praying for, because some of us are praying for a successful relationship. Okay, whatever that means, and we'll talk about it. And some of us are praying for an easier struggle. Some of us are praying for an easier struggle. Okay, and that is and what I mean by that is many of us want that ideal relationship, that ideal partnership, the relationship of our dreams. We want to call in that love that we deserve, right? We've been talking about that nonstop on this podcast, on the Fix Your Relationships podcast. And so, yes, we want that. But sometimes we pray for bare minimum. God, I just want, when you started off there, that's when you know you're in trouble. God, I just want a man that, won't cheat on me. Or I just want somebody who prioritizes their family over their work. God, I just want somebody that makes a certain amount of money so we don't have to, struggle with our finances and we can be secure. Praying for an easier struggle looks like praying for just this and not understanding that your ideal relationship, what you need out of relationship, is so much more than just that one thing. That easier struggle comes from a place of lack. That prayer for the easier struggle comes from a place of lack. It comes from what you haven't gotten out of your current or previous relationship. It comes from just wanting the bare minimum. And we know that when we pray, we don't have a bare minimum God. So why would you have a bare minimum prayer? Okay. Some of us are praying for a bare minimum. I want somebody that that ain't going to cheat and lie. That's all you want? Beg to differ, sis. I beg to differ. I think you want more than that. And so today I really want to talk to you about what needs to happen in order for you to move from that mindset of praying for an easier struggle relationship to praying for a successful relationship, whatever that means. And so the first step in doing so is determining what a successful relationship would be for you. And I say for you because it is going to be different for everyone. Success looks different for each person. Certainly we have ideal relationships. Certainly we have relationships that we put up on a pedestal. Maybe it's an aunt and uncle of yours. Maybe it's something fictional like we see in a movie or a television show. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's, your godparents who've been married for 60 years. But what I want you to know is that no matter which relationship you're holding in high regard, you only see a snapshot of that. Okay? You see what they present, what they allow you to see. And so what about those relationships screams success to you? And we can start to build that. We can start to look for that. We can start to articulate it and write it down. I've talked to you guys for weeks now about the 1 Within 30-Day Reset. And one of the first thing that I do in that program, and I'm going to give you, this is a little sneak peek because I don't even think I've talked about this. When I created that program, I did have a vision for what I wanted it to be, what I wanted it to look like. I never intended to drop it the way that I've dropped it just now. I intended to do something completely different, but this is what God led me to do. And so when we were rebuilding the program, reshaping it, reformulating it, making sure that it is what it is right now, right? A verse popped up to me. And this wasn't a new verse. This isn't something that I've never heard before or never read before. I've heard this verse for years. It has been in my orbit for years. And that was Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain. The full sentence, the full verse includes write the vision and make it plain on tablets so that he who reads it may run. I hadn't heard the full thing, right? But write the vision, make it plain on tablets so that he who reads it may run. There are so many different variations of that depending on which translation of the Bible that you read. However, writing the vision, making it plain on tablets so that he who reads it may run. When we are praying for a successful relationship, I'm going to argue that it would behoove us to take that, to write it down, make it plain, make it clear. Okay. That's what that is. Making it plain means making it clear that whomever reads it, okay, whether it's you, whether it's somebody else, whomever reads it, no matter who picks it up, will know exactly what to do and can run with it, can do it, can execute. Right? Writing your vision for what a successful relationship is critical in order for you to find it, to know when you have found it. A lot of people are like, how do I know when I found the one? Have you wrote it down? If you haven't wrote it down, then maybe you should. Okay. Really thinking about it and not just writing down a list of superlatives, making it crystal clear and plain. So many people are trying to figure out what Ciara's prayer was. How about you figure out your own prayer? I don't know what exactly her prayer was, right? Fascinated to know. But I think the premise behind the Ciara prayer situation is that she was very clear, not just on what she didn't want in a relationship, but what she did want in a relationship. We are so focused, that struggle, again, the struggle prayer, right? We want an easier struggle. So we're praying for God to remove the thing that we don't want. But we're not telling him, hey, I sat down. I looked at my own stuff. I recognize that these are the things that I'm attracting. These are the things that I'm bringing into relationship. These are the things that I need to work on. Here's what I want out of a relationship. And it involves perhaps me doing some things differently, not just the other person. That is what's going to make your relationship a success. But you have to be clear on what those things are. Okay? You got to be clear on what those things are. So if you want to start praying and really talking to God about a more successful relationship and what you want to call in, number one, you have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to change. Change is not going to be all on the other person. That would imply that you are perfect and they are not. And we know that nobody is perfect. Sometimes we are trying, and I talked to you guys a little bit about this last week. We are trying so hard to make someone into what we would want them to be in order for the relationship to be perfect, rather than accepting that is just not who they are. And the moment we accept them for who they are and what they bring to the table, we can make a decision about whether or not that person that they are authentically is the person that we should be aligned with. And oftentimes it's not that person. We may love them to death, but that don't mean that they're the right person for us. And really, and I said this in the intro, they may be right for somebody else and just not for you. We're spending so much time trying to make somebody into something that they are absolutely perfect for somebody else and not for you. Yet you're praying for an easier struggle for them to, hopefully transition into what you would have them to be, knowing that that's not who they are. Allow that person to be who they are. And once you've accepted it, you determine whether you need to change in order to be with this person as they are. What does it feel like? You guys know this too. How would you feel? And some of you have been in this situation. How would you feel if you couldn't do anything right for the person you were partnered with? If everything you did was wrong? If they kept asking you to be something that you just weren't, that you couldn't, it wasn't authentic to you. You maybe could try it, but that doesn't mean you were going to like it or be able to hold it together for a long period of time. After a while, that's going to get old because it means that they're not accepting you for who you are and they're trying to make you into something that you're not. That's what we're asking people to do by trying to force them into change. When in reality, we should be accepting them for who they are and then determining if we need to make a change, if we need to exit, if we need to stop asking them to do crazy things. Okay? All right. Here's another thing that we can do instead of praying for an easier struggle. We have to accept that some relationships aren't working because they're not supposed to. Every relationship that you are in is not supposed to end in marriage. It is not. Sometimes people come into our lives, that reason, season, lifetime. But, some people come into our lives to teach us things. And some people keep coming into our lives because we haven't learned. When you start to continue to see something showing up in your relationship, I do believe, and you can believe what you want to believe. I'm going to tell you what I believe because you tuned into this podcast. Some people keep showing up in your relationship, the same type of partner, because God is trying to grow you. You're supposed to learn something and you keep refusing to learn it. You keep digging your heels in. You keep thinking or telling yourself this time will be different. When in your heart of hearts, deep in your gut, you already know this is the same BS that was here before. Many of you, I have done this as well. Okay. So this is not me talking down to nobody because I ain't that far removed, honey. But thank God I've been married for this coming year will be 19 years. But before that, man, honey, she made mistakes. She made some mistakes in her younger days. So this is not about me talking down or trying to pretend like I'm any amount of better. I just have been in that struggle. And so I know if you've ever been with someone who was a serial cheater, okay, but you loved them so much and you wanted them to change. And, the prayer was, gosh, if he could just, not if I meet someone that doesn't cheat, but if this one right here, the one that I've decided I want to be with, okay, if he could just not cheat, we would be good. That relationship, okay, I'm going to tell you, that relationship was not supposed to work out. It was not supposed to work out. It was not supposed to work out. I can't say it enough. It was not supposed to work. That is not the person, okay, that you or I should have been with because he was what he was. I wanted him to be something different. I knew that he had the potential to be something different, but he was happy lying and cheating. And I just really, really wanted him to be something different. And so with all of the lies, I bargained, I prayed, I hoped that he was anything but what he was. My gut was telling me, no, girl, this is not the one for you. But I kept putting myself in the circumstance and situation to allow him to continue to be exactly who he was. Okay. And so what I'm telling you is that sometimes we have to look in order to get out of that easier struggle, prayer for the easier struggle. In order to get out of that struggle relationship, we have to be honest about what that relationship is. And we have to identify our role in that relationship and our role in the struggle. How are we keeping the struggle going? Okay? Because oftentimes we are hoping for something different and ignoring the reality of the situation and just praying to God for an easier struggle. And that's not what we're doing anymore. Another way that we can get out of praying for an easier struggle and praying for a more successful relationship is to stop spending our time trying to convince someone to change rather than just changing ourselves. People change when they want to change. We cannot make them change. We can make suggestions. We can tell them what we want. We can tell them what we expect. But it is truly up to them whether they want to make that change or not. And based on their action or inaction, it is up to us to change. Anytime you are asking someone else to change and getting mad that they don't, they are just showing up as they either authentically are or as they choose to. That guy that I was telling you about just now, he had every opportunity to change. But I imagine that he sat there and said, why should I? Yes, because she asked me, but I'm doing well right now, not changing. I'm getting everything that I want by not changing. So why should I change? He didn't have a reason to, other than the fact that I asked him, and that wasn't a good enough reason. He had to want to do it. He had to want to do it, and he didn't. He didn't want to. And so rather than spending my time, which I did spend a lot of time, an inordinate amount of time, spent quite a bit of time trying to convince him to change. What ultimately had to happen, and this is why I kept running into the same thing and seeing the same type of person, right? What ultimately had to happen, I had to grow. I had to change. I had to recognize my own patterns of behavior. The things that I kept doing, like accepting the BS, like believing the lies, like ignoring my gut, ignoring my instincts. I had to stop doing those things. And when I stopped doing those things, I started to see it for what it really was. And I accepted that. As hard as it was, I accepted that. I moved on. And I had much better relationships after that. Not that they were perfect. It was dating, so it sucked. Not that those relationships were perfect, but they were better. And when I was confronted with that same type of person, because that person comes back in a different shape and form, right? When I was confronted with that same type of person, I saw it earlier. I knew it. And I was like, I'm not going through that. I refuse. And when it was confirmed, and sometimes you allow it to play out, and sometimes you're just like, I'm not going to do it. But when it's confirmed, I'm like, yeah, I know. I knew that. Sometimes we're praying for an easier struggle. Sometimes not even that we're praying for an easier struggle. It's that we're insisting on a struggle. We're insisting on digging our heels in. We're insisting on being exactly where we are and not growing. Okay? We're insisting that rather than letting go, we'd rather hold on to the hard because we know it, because it's familiar, because it's quote unquote comfortable, when in actuality it's uncomfortable for us, very comfortable for them. Again, they don't have to change if they don't want to, right? But we know it. The devil we know, right? We're holding on to hard. We're holding on to lack. We're holding on to disrespect. We're holding on really to fear. We're holding on to fear of being alone, of starting over, of calling this relationship a failure. It's an easier struggle to stay in this mess and pretend that we're okay when we're absolutely not. Rather than praying for a successful partnership or relationship, one that is befitting of the person that we are and the person that we've grown to be, praying for the person that God has for us. And that brings me to my last point. Sometimes we are praying for an easier struggle because we're not realizing that more is on the opposite side of what we're currently in. But in order to see that, in order to have that, in order to embrace that, we have to first embrace change. We have to do something different. We can't continue about our relationships in the same way. We can't continue to ignore past trauma and past hurt. We can't continue to ignore the patterns that have gotten us to this place. We can't continue to ignore the emotional triggers, the past hurt and disappointment. We can't continue to ignore the things that we have experienced over and over again. We can't continue to say, once I get into the new relationship, that's when I'm going to start fixing some of the stuff that I need to work on. Would you buy a broken car knowing that you're going to have to spend a whole bunch of money, time, energy in order to fix it? Would you first purchase it knowing that it is a piece of junk, that it ain't worth what you paid, knowing that you're going to have to put so much more work into it? That's what you're asking people to do in relationship when you don't want to work on yourself. You're saying, I'm broken. I'm not well. I'm not at 100%, but I'm going to get into this relationship and I'm going to get better after I get into the relationship. That's like buying a car and expecting it to improve the more you drive it. It's not going to work. You have to, if you want a new car, buy a new car. And if you know that you have issues that you need to work through, let's work on those first before, like, in going with that car analogy, if you were going to buy a used car, you'd want it to be fixed up first before you buy it, right? That's what we have to do in relationships. We got to fix ourselves. We got to work through our own stuff prior to getting into the next relationship if we have that luxury. Now, some of us are in relationship and we understand that this is our person and this is where we want to be and we need to work some stuff out. But in order for me to stay in this relationship, and for me to feel whole and this relationship to succeed, I'm going to have to make some changes. We got to realize that the relationship that we are praying for, not the struggle relationship, but the relationship that we know God has for us, may not happen if we don't make the necessary changes that we need to make first. Bottom line. And I want to help you with that. I've talked to you guys for weeks about the One Within 30-Day Reset. And that is a program that is available to you. It is 30 days, a curated, one-of-a-kind journaling experience that is designed by me. Many of my patients that I've worked with one-on-one, right? They come to me. We work hard in session, okay? I'm helping them to confront these issues. I'm helping them to do the hard stuff. I'm helping them to acknowledge and determine where their missteps are and where the patterns are and what the triggers are and all of that. And we're working over the course of weeks and months. Some of my clients I've been seeing for years, okay? But not everyone has the luxury to do that and the time to be able to do that. And so I wanted to find a way that I could basically like box my thought processes up, and really target the specific areas of concern that many of the women that are struggling in relationships have, that know that they have stuff that they have to work on themselves if they want the next relationship or even the current relationship to be successful, if they want to stop struggling and sending in struggle prayers, okay? That there are some things that they are going to have to do. There is some growth that needs to happen. There's transformation in them that must happen in order for them to have the love that they know they deserve. And I believe you deserve it. And so the One Within 30-Day Reset is 30 days of journaling. You are going to be guided. It's a guided journaling experience. So I'm not pushing a blank piece of paper in front of you and saying, just write anything, okay? I'm telling you what to write. I'm giving you a prompt each day for 30 days. I am giving you a prompt that will help you uncover all of these things, that will move you towards ownership of some of the things that you need to change and work through. That's going to push you, to address some of these issues and connect some dots. You may not even know why you're doing certain things or what patterns you do have or what's triggering you and why. This journaling experience is designed to help you figure those things out. Now, could you do that with me one-on-one? Absolutely. It's probably going to cost more and it's probably going to take a lot longer. I know that you guys are busy. I know that you don't always have the time. I won't say that you don't always have the time. I think that sometimes we don't make the time because we all have the same amount of time, but we make time for what we know that we have. What I want to encourage you to do is to start this process before we get into 2026, okay? I don't want another year to start where you guys are saying, now I want to start working on my relationship. I don't want you to keep putting off your self-work. I don't want you to keep putting off the prayer for the successful relationship. I don't want you to keep praying for the struggle, okay? I want you to start identifying the origins of the struggle, why the struggle is there in the first place, where the struggle came from, why the struggle is still here. I want you to identify those things so that you understand what your version of successful relationship looks like, and you can start articulating that prayer. Okay. And your prayer will be the one that the girlies are like, what is Pam's prayer? What is Destiny's prayer? What is Tamra's prayer? I want to know what Tiffany's prayer, what Courtney's prayer is, because that's the relationship that I've been looking for. It won't be. That's not going to be the relationship that you're looking for, because yours is going to be unique to you, what your needs, your wants, your desires, and what you deserve. It's going to be very specific. But in order for us to get that clarity, come into the One Within 30-day reset. You'll get that in 30 days. You will get that in 30 days. You're going to get daily journal prompts that are designed for your specific and unique areas of growth and transformation. These journal prompts are going to take you about 5 to 10 minutes each day, no more, no less. Okay. You're also going to get daily guidance from me in the form of a video tutorial where I'm going to shepherd you through the process. You're not going to do this alone. Okay. You also are going to have access to a private Facebook community that only women who are in the One Within 30-day reset have access to. That is specific because I want you to know that the individuals that are in this Facebook community are all going through the same thing, right? We're all trying to figure this thing out. Okay. And we'll be able to share the things that we've learned. We'll be able to share wins. We'll be able to share challenges. We'll get and gain support from one another. And it is a supportive and positive environment for you to be able to make changes in a way that feels extremely safe and extremely supported. You also have access to a live monthly group coaching call. That is a live call with me where you can just hop on, ask your questions, get real-time advice and help, and get the language that you need in order to move forward in your relationships. You'll get priority access to one-on-one coaching with me. So if you need private coaching, if you want to take this farther, if you want to move a little bit faster, you'll have access to my calendar. My calendar is not accessible, okay? It is hidden online. I don't allow people to just schedule willy-nilly. You'll have priority access to my calendar so that we can work together on getting you there faster. You'll also get newsletters. You're going to get surprise bonuses, so much more. And if you're listening to this during the month of November 2025, you know that you just have a few more days in order to get VIP access, okay? During the month of November 2025, we are offering VIP access to everyone that registers. It doesn't matter what button you push, you are going to be directed to a checkout that gives you VIP access, which means that instead of 30 days, you're going to have 60 days to mull through, to work through the program. Instead of 30, you get 60, double the time. You're also going to get an extra group coaching call, okay? All the replays are included too, by the way. You'll get everything. You'll get the replays, you'll get the coaching calls, and you'll get access to this community for 60 days and access to everything that we've given out already and so much more. So I want to encourage you. If you need help getting out of those struggle prayers, okay? If you want to stop praying for an easier struggle and you want to find success in your relationships, the first step is figuring out what success is going to be. Okay. We're not doing those if you can just prayers. Okay. We are writing it down. We're making it plain and we're going to run with it because we are going to give it to God and it's going to be a successful relationship because we know what to ask for. And the only way you're going to know what to ask for is to know you better. Okay. And I want to support you in that. So like I said, go ahead and sign up for the One Within 30-day reset. To do that, go to drtiffanyhenry.com/the1within. And one is ONE spelled out, okay? So drtiffanyhenry.com, TheOnewithin, drtiffanyhenry.com/the1within. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Fix Your Relationships podcast. And I hope that the rest of your day and week is amazing. And I can't wait to see you back here on next Wednesday. Talk to you soon. Ciao. Hey, babe, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My goal with this podcast is to bless you with information that helps you fix those relationships that are most important to you, but not before you do the self-work needed to make sure that those relationships thrive. If this episode was exactly what you needed, then guess what? Somebody else probably needs it too. So do me and them a favor. Please share this episode with your good girlfriend and let her know about the podcast. And while you're at it, hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. This really helps to grow the podcast and puts it right in front of other women who are desperate to work on their relationships and themselves. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to join our community of like-minded women all on a journey to become the one. You can sign up for free at becometheone.myflowdesk.com/email. I know that's a lot, so just go on over to the show notes and click that link there. Thanks again for listening to Fix Your Relationships with Dr. Tiff. I'll see you right back here next week.